Hey guys, Jennifer here with the Family Fudge, and welcome to Bunches of Lunches RV Road Trip Edition. And speaking of RVs, right now ours looks like a complete disaster, and that's because our spring break road trip didn't quite go as planned. In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you all of the lunches from our trip and a little bit about what we did and where we went each day. Now, let me take you back a little over a week ago before we discovered this new leak in our RV. For our spring break, we decided to go up to the Pigeon Forge area of Tennessee. Then we wanted to explore a couple of stops on the East Coast on our way back down to Florida. Spring break time in Florida can be crazy busy, so we thought that if we headed up north, we might be able to avoid some of those big spring break crowds, but more on that later. So for this trip, we packed up everything and started heading up north. And if you're curious about what kind of snacks and activities we took on this road trip, I do have a separate video on that, and I'll go ahead and link it down below if you want to check it out. But on that first day of our road trip, we got such a late start that we were only able to make it about 6 hours north, and by that time it was bedtime, and so we decided to sleep at Walmart. Now, I know that sounds crazy, but it's actually a very popular choice for RVers and truck drivers that need a safe place to just pull over for the night. This is called boondocking, and not all Walmarts allow this. But as you can see, this location was very crowded. There were a lot of RVers here, so I felt pretty safe, and it was an easy, free option to sleep for a couple of hours while on the road. Now, the next morning we got up super early and we got back on the road so that we could make it to our campground in Pigeon Forge by lunchtime. Now, we have never camped anywhere in Pigeon Forge before, and there are actually a ton of different RV campgrounds. We decided to stay at the Pine Mountain Resort because here the RV spots were pretty spacious. This location is pretty close to all of the main attractions in Pigeon Forge. Now, when it comes to lunches on the road, I have a very limited space, not only for food items, but also for lunch accessories too. But I did still bring some of my favorite lunch supplies, and yes, I do store most of these in our microwave because in RVs you really have to be creative when it comes to a storage space. And you guys, because kitchen space is limited in the RV as well, I planned most of the lunches to be quick and easy things that I could throw together that wouldn't make a big mess in the tiny kitchen that we have. So for Monday's lunch, I made all of the kids a ham and cheese slider on a Hawaiian roll. For their fruit, I added some fruit salad. This had strawberries, blueberries, and bananas. I also threw in some cantaloupe, which is my favorite. I also gave them some celery, some carrots, and I did not forget the ranch. On the side, I also added some veggie chips. These ones are super good. For a little sweet treat, I also added just 2 of these little Biscoff cookies. And then for the drink, I decided to throw in some of these 100% juice Capri Suns. And that is everything for Monday's lunch. So now that brings me to Tuesday. On this day, we had planned to just relax at the campground and chill by the pool. But since the pool wasn't available, we decided to pack a picnic and take it to the park and then head to the island in Pigeon Forge, which actually isn't an island at all. It's more like a big amusement and shopping area. Now, since this lunch was going to be a picnic, I wanted to pack something that was simple and that wouldn't get melty or sticky. I decided to go with one of the kids' favorite snacky lunches, which is kind of like a DIY Lunchable, except instead of turkey or ham, we really like to add turkey pepperoni. It's already cut up and ready to go, so it's super easy. Also in this lunch, I added a cutie orange, which I think is the perfect portable fruit. In this lunch, I also added some cucumber slices with ranch to dip them in. On the side, I threw in some Z-Bar Kids, and these are in the oatmeal flavor. And then for the kids' drinks, I gave each of them a watermelon juice Capri Sun, and then they also each brought their water bottles. Now, because we drove our motorhome here and set it up at our campsite, we really didn't have any other form of transportation to get around Pigeon Forge once we were there. But I did find out that Pigeon Forge has quite an extensive transportation system that stops at just about every place you'd want to go in the whole area. So we decided to give public transportation a try. First, we rode the bus to Patriot Park to have our picnic. Now you guys, this park is actually really well known in this area because it's right next to the Little Pigeon River, and it's next to the very popular Old Mill and Old Mill restaurant. And of course, my kids loved that they could see Smokey the Bear at this park as well. Now, the weather was beautiful this day, the park wasn't crowded at all, and we had the perfect place to sit and eat our lunch right by the river. After lunch, we hopped back on the bus and we headed to the island. Now, I have to say, we had never been here before, and it was way more crowded than I was expecting. In fact, it was a lot like back in Florida. So yeah, we ended up not staying very long. We did watch the entire water fountain show, which was really cool. We enjoyed that a lot. We did walk around a little bit, but then we decided to just head back to our campground so we could get our fire started and make some s'mores. On Wednesday, we had planned to spend the day at Dollywood. We have been to Dollywood many times and we absolutely love it, but we had heard that Dollywood was sold out and was going to be at capacity for that day. So we decided, instead of being in the big crowds and kind of on a whim, we decided to drive to Virginia. Now, we really didn't have any plans to go to Virginia, but the kids and I have a goal to try and visit every state in the US. And since Virginia was only about 2 hours away from where we were, we decided to go ahead and drive up there to see what we could see. You know, often when we are traveling to a new state, I try to find some kind of local food that we can try when we're there. And in and around the Virginia area, I started reading about a fun chain of restaurants called Pal's Sudden Service, which sounded really interesting. According to my research, it was founded back in 1956, and they are kind of known for their crazy looking building. Yeah, check it out, you guys. Big blue building with a giant hot dog and a hamburger on top of it. It looks so fun. But unfortunately, what we didn't know is that all of these restaurants are drive-through only. And the first one that we came to, we actually couldn't fit our RV through the drive-through because it was too big. So we ended up continuing on down the road into Virginia. and that's where we found another Pals location. Now, this location did have a drive-thru that was wide enough so that we could still go through with our big RV. Now, you guys, obviously we had never eaten at Pals before, so I did end up just ordering a few things so that we could share and just try them out. We ordered 2 of their famous chili dogs, 2 of their cheeseburgers, and a couple orders of their seasoned fries. So nothing too crazy. You guys will have to let me know in the comments down below if you've ever visited a Pals location. Most of the family thought this was really fun to try, but some of the kids didn't really like it that much, so I ended up just making them a PB&J to have instead. After lunch, we decided to leave Virginia. So yes, we were only there for a couple of hours, but we started to head south because we thought it would be really interesting to stop and see the Biltmore Estate in North Carolina. Now, the Biltmore Estate is America's largest home, and it was built back in the 1890s. Visiting this house has been on my bucket list for a while, but unfortunately, I didn't do my research before I left home, and I didn't realize that you needed to buy tickets in advance if you wanted to take a tour of the house. And you guys, unfortunately, just like at Dollywood, the Biltmore was sold out of tickets while we were there as well, so there was no way we were going to be able to see it on this trip. So while we were in the area, we ended up just visiting a little botanical garden instead. We ended up being there for just about half an hour, and then we got back in the RV so we could start making our way back to Florida. So you guys, we ended up only staying in North Carolina for a few hours. We kind of just drove through the entire state on our way to South Carolina, and that's where we ended up spending the night at another Walmart. We did the whole boondocking thing again, and then that morning we got up super early and we drove all the way to St. Augustine, Florida. Now, originally I was hoping to make a stop at Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. We have never been there before. Ultimately, we decided to just drive back to Florida and have our beach day here. Before we headed to the beach, we stopped at one of our favorite gas stations called Buc-ee's. Now, apparently there are Buc-ee's locations all over Texas, but new locations are starting to pop up in other states, including Florida. And let me just tell you, Buc-ee's is not just a gas station. All of them that I've ever been to have been huge, and they have just about everything you would ever want. Now, of course, they do have a lot of snacks and drinks, and they're pretty well known for having excellent barbecue, but they also have a really good candied pecans. They also sell a really popular snack called beaver nuggets, which are kind of a sweet corn puffed treat. They also have a fudge counter and lots of merchandise. My favorite thing to do when we go to Buc-ee's is to look around this area. This is full of all kinds of home decor, clothing, and accessories. They have super cute earrings and lots more. Now, if you've ever been to the gift shop inside of a Cracker Barrel, it's kind of like that, except at Buc-ee's, it's 10 times bigger. Now, on this day, we ended up getting to Buc-ee's a little bit before lunchtime. So instead of the barbecue pork and brisket sandwiches, we ended up picking up some awesome breakfast things instead. So we got some breakfast burritos, some breakfast tacos. Mackenzie picked out a breakfast croissant sandwich. Jackson got a breakfast taco, and since Griffin and Lily aren't really fans of either of those things, they chose to have these cute tiny boxes of cereal with some milk. So we ended up having brunch on this day instead of lunch. After our brunch, we headed on over to Flagler Beach for the day. Now, this was our first time visiting Flagler Beach, and out of all of the beaches that we visited in Florida so far, this is definitely one of my favorites. I was really surprised that the sand at this beach is more of a golden color, unlike the sand in Clearwater Beach, which is definitely more powdery and white. I also loved that it wasn't crowded at all, and the best part is that while we were at this beach, no seagulls attacked us at all. Now, after our day at the beach, we decided to end our trip early and just head home, and I'm really glad that we did because the very next day a huge storm came through our area and it actually did quite a lot of damage in our backyard. I'm actually really glad that we were home at that time and not still on the road. Now, at this point, you guys, we've been home for about a week now, and thankfully my husband was able to fix that leak and we've been able to get the RV back into shape. And if you missed yesterday's video, because in that video I share our complete step-by-step RV makeover, and I have to say that right now our RV does not look anything like it used to when we first got it. It was such a big transformation. Now, I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe and give this video a thumbs up, and I'll see you in my next video.